All right, hello everybody. We had a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we're on the go here now at 4:33. So we'll start this regular council meeting for October, for April 5th, April 7th. My mistake. And anyway, yeah. So we'll get started here now, and our first things will be our announcements. Councillor Kalafa. Or,
On Thursday, April 9th, the town will be lowering its municipal flags to half staff, and this is in commemoration of Vimy Ridge. It honors the sacrifices made by Canadians during World War One.
okay, thank you for that announcement. Councillor Hanson.
Yeah, tonight the Drumheller Dragons are playing game number 3 against Canmore Eagles. It's the second round of the playoff. Let's fill the Dragons Den and get everybody out there for 7 o'clock to watch the game and cheer on the Dragons. Go Dragons, go!
Go Dragons indeed. Councillor McNeil.
Yes, good evening. I just want to announce that the Atlas Coal Mine National Historic Site has earned the recognized museum status for 2026 to 2031 from the Alberta Museums Association, alongside the East Cooley School Museum. This recognition reflects both museums' commitment to preserving regional heritage and maintaining best practice standards. Congratulations to everyone involved.
Yeah, thank you for that. And they are amazing places for sure. Councillor Miller.
On May 1st and 2nd, the East Cooley School Museum is hosting their annual Springfest. They're inviting everyone to join them in East Cooley to enjoy many different genres of music. Tickets can be purchased at ecmuseum.ca. And if you're interested in volunteering, please call the museum at 403 822 397D.
All right, thanks for that. Councillor Zaritsky. You need paper?
This week, public works crews are addressing potholes, if you can believe it. On local roads, as spring weather allows, residents are encouraged to report infrastructure concerns through the town app or website. And by the way, the town does not maintain provincial highways. Highway 9, 10, 10X, 56, 569, 570, 573, 575, 576, 838. These are maintained by Alberta Transportation and MCON services. Report them though.
Okay, thanks for that. I think the potholes are a pretty popular topic right now, that's for sure. All right, and then for myself, I got a letter here from the CAME the other day, which is Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators. And it said their long service recognition awards program of the CAMA is dedicated to honoring and celebrating the dedication of our members to public service and municipal management, a cornerstone priority of our association. These awards are based on the duration of full-time paid employment in municipal government, specifically in management roles such as CAO or those reporting directly to them. Recognition is granted at the 10-year mark and subsequently in 5-year intervals. And this year it is our privilege to acknowledge the commitment of your CAO, Esther Campbell. For her 15 years of service in municipal government and management roles. Esther's dedication to her role has undoubtedly contributed to the advancement of your municipality, and we're pleased to recognize her achievements. So, yeah, congratulations on that, Esther. There's your aid from them. And we got you a little card there.
I'll start crying.
All right. So I guess that pretty much takes care of our announcements. So now we'll be, now I need to get back to, yeah, there's one here. So, all right, so then we'll need to adopt our agenda for, let's see, for our April 7th meeting here today. Can I get a motion to adopt our agenda? Councillor Miller,
I move that council adopts the agenda for April 7, 2016 regular council meeting as presented.
thank you for that. Get a seconder. Councillor Hardy. And all in favor? Okay, all in favor. Thank you. All right, so then we'll get our adoption of our minutes from the, oops. Okay, our minutes from our March 17th regular council meeting. Can I get someone make a motion to adopt those? Oh, Deputy Mayor Kalafa.
I'll move that council approve the minutes for the March 17th, 2026 regular council meeting as presented.
Thank you for that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Hanson, all in favor? Okay, all in favor, carried. All right, so then our boards are Drumheller Public Library Board, our regular meeting minutes. Can I get a motion? Councillor McNeil,
I move that council accepts the Drumheller Public Library Board meeting minutes for the February 11th, 2026 meeting as information.
okay, thank you for that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Hanson, all in favor? Okay. All right, and then on to the Valley Bus Society, their December 10th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Can I get a motion for the Valley Bus Society, please? Councillor McNeil,
Sure, thank you. I move that council accepts the Valley Bus Society meeting minutes for the December 10th, 2025 regular meeting as information.
thank you for that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Miller, thank you. All in favor? Okay, all carried. Thank you. All right, and now Drumheller and District Seniors Foundation. Can I get some present motion? Councillor Zarisky.
I move that council accepts the Drumheller and District Seniors Foundation meeting minutes for the February 19th, 2026 regular meeting as information.
Thank you for that. Can I get a seconder? Deputy Mayor Kalafa. Thank you. All in favor? Okay. Thanks for that. Comment? Okay.
Yeah, just a comment. If anybody has any questions about any of these minutes, that's one of the reasons why we present them in council, is that so everybody can see what's going on in any of these committees and, make use of that information and ask questions if you want.
Any questions then for our seniors foundation here? None? Not even about how to go about our false alarms there? Okay. All right. All right, so then we'll carry on then to our CAO reports from our administration.
Thank you, Your Worship. So our first report today is on the Rosedale South Land Designation Bylaw number 09.26 for third reading. On March 17th, 2026, Council did have our first and second readings to the proposed Rosedale South Land Designation Bylaw. As there were no comments or concerns from Council, the proposed bylaw is now being brought forward for third and final reading. The bylaw intends to designate two PULs covering the southern portion of the Rosedale berm south of Pinter Drive and east of Pinter Road. As part of the town's flood mitigation project and provincial funding agreements, the town does, we've entered into an agreement with the province and the government of Canada to build our flood mitigation berms along portions of the Red Deer River to protect properties and the citizens of Drumheller from the ravages of floodwaters wherever feasible. In order to comply with the provincial and federal funding agreements, a land acquired for the flood mitigation project must be dedicated as either environmental reserve or public utility lot or another designation satisfactory to the province. A public utility lot or PUL is a titled parcel of land that is owned by the town and contains public utilities or municipal infrastructure. Wherever possible, we have chosen to put the land acquired for the use of berms as PUL, as berms are considered municipal infrastructure. An environmental reserve is a designation for land that is unsuitable for development or environmentally sensitive, and usually contains land subject to flooding or containing riparian lands. Construction of the Rosedale berm did begin in the spring of 2025, with most of the work completed in the summer and fall of 25. The parking lot at the Starmine Suspension Bridge was closed from September 15th to November 21st to accommodate work on the Rosedale berm. Additional landscaping work will be required still this spring. Proposed bylaw number 09.26 received first and second reading, as I mentioned, on March 17th, and there have been no changes to the document since that time. Financial implications, the cost to convert these lands are included as part of our capital project budget for the flood mitigation project. This conversion is a requirement of the provincial funding agreement. Our strategic policy alignment, our flood mitigation project is a key strategic priority of this council and administration. Our recommendation moving forward is that council gives third and final reading to the Rosedale South Land Designation Bylaw number 09.26 as presented. Thank you.
All right, well, can we get someone to make a motion? Deputy Mayor Kalafa?
I'll move the council give third and final reading to Rosedale South Land Designation Bylaw 09.26 as presented.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Hanson? Thank you. Any discussion? Any questions about this? No questions. All right. We'll take a vote. All in favor? Okay. All in favor. Carried. Thank you. All right. Next up is Nakmine East Land Designation Bylaw number 10.26.
Thank you, Worship. On January 20th, 26, Council gave third and final reading to the Nakmine East removal of land designation bylaw 40.25. That bylaw was passed to remove the status of municipal reserve on a parcel described as Block R1, Plan 7510071, so that it could be converted into a public utility lot by a future bylaw of council. Now that bylaw 40.25 has been passed, proposed Nakmine East Land Designation Bylaw number 10.26 intends to create 3 public utility lots covering the eastern section of the Nakmine berm, including that section of land previously containing the MR, or Municipal Reserve. The area of land is depicted in Schedule A of the proposed bylaw. In order to comply with the provincial and federal funding agreements, again, the land acquired for flood mitigation projects is we're choosing to dedicate as PUL. The construction on the Nakmine berm began in the spring of 2025 and was completed in the summer of 25. The 3 proposed PULs cover the eastern section of the berm adjacent to the Hunter Drive cul-de-sac and Nakmine lift station. Again, the costs to convert this land are covered and included in our capital budget for the flood mitigation project. And this conversion to POL is a requirement of our funding agreements. Strategic policy alignment, the flood mitigation project is a key strategic priority of this council and administration. And our recommendation today is that council gives both first and second reading to bylaw number 10.26. Thank you.
All right. So, can I get someone to make a motion on that? Councillor Miller?
I move that council gives first reading to Nakmine East Land Designation Bylaw number 10.26 as presented.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I get a seconder on that? Councillor Hanson? Any discussion on this? Any questions on that? Deputy Mayor Kalafa?
Thank you, through the chair. Just aside from the agreement for flood mitigation, are there advantages of being a PUL versus a municipal reserve piece? I think they're both owned by us, and
Thank you for that. So a public utility lot definitely means that you can build infrastructure on it. So if you have sometimes those are used for drainage ditches or for berms or for any sort of utility construction piece. So if we were instead to designate as a municipal reserve, there's more limitations as far as what you can and cannot have on there. And development in itself is normally something that is limited. You can still develop on municipal reserve. You can't develop on environmental reserve, but it's a different level of ability when it's a public utility lot.
Okay,
does this take this out of our sort of land reserve for future selling or whatever? Like, is this, you know, we've sort of got a deficit in our budget with the amount of land we have.
Our land inventory? Our, through the chair, the lot itself, it's still, even though it's a public utility lot, it is within our municipal lands. However, its designation as a public utility lot now means that we cannot turn around and sell it without converting it into something else.
okay, thank you. Councillor McNeil?
Thank you. Just the question I have is when it was previously municipal reserve, were there 3 separate municipal reserve lots?
Through the chair, thank you for that question. I was actually wondering the same thing. So I'm going to find that out for sure and bring it back for third reading, because I'm also curious as to why we have 3 separate PUL designations. And it's unclear to me right now what that reason was instead of just one large PUL.
Thank you.
Anything else? Councillor Hardy?
I assume that these were converted to an environmental reserve after they were expropriated. Is that right?
I believe so, yes. Whatever they were designated as at the time of when we brought it on, as when we purchased it or expropriated it, that is a possibility. Again, I'm gonna have to double check that one.
Is there any reason in particular why we didn't go straight to PUL? Is my real question.
Not that I'm aware of. If we knew, maybe perhaps with once they were able to determine the actual footprint of the berm and how much it would be, they'd be able to say, is it going to be entirely PUL or do we need PUL and a little bit of environmental reserve, kind of like they did farther down on the Nakmine berm? Because normally farther down, we have that section where it's ER, then PUL, and then ER. So I think they were just waiting on the finalization of the design would be my guess. Thank you.
And these were all part of expropriated lands from the flood mitigation process?
I believe so, yes, but I will confirm that as well.
Okay. All right, thanks for taking those questions and clearing them up. All right, so now we're on to our, what's that? Didn't we vote? Oh, yeah, we got we got two in there. Okay, all in favor? All right, carried. Okay, now I got a question. Did we miss voting on the Drumheller Seniors Foundation? Or we got it? Okay. All right, good. I kind of lost track there. Yeah. All right, so okay, so now we're on the council committee bylaw 34.25, first reading. What's that? First reading. Oh. Okay, second reading then. Okay, Deputy Mayor Kalafa.
I'll move that council give second reading to Nakmine East Land Designation Bylaw 10.26 as presented.
Councillor McNeil, you're seconding it. All right. Any questions? Councillor Zersky?
Well, I was just thinking, rather than doing a second reading, if we have information that we are going to explore and is lacking, maybe we hold off second reading. Just do first for now and compile that extra information and then do second reading.
Through the chair, we can do either. I'm open to either.
Yeah, why don't we just wait on that then? So we got to take back our, do we have to take back those motions?
Through the chair, the person who made the motion can choose to withdraw the motion, if that's the direction that they want to go. If a councillor would like to make a motion to withdraw the motion, they can proceed that way.
Okay, let's do that.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to withdraw my
All right.
motion then.
Okay, thank you. No, we don't have to do anything more. Okay, you're gonna second it,
I second that motion.
the motion that we withdraw the motion? Are we all in favor of withdrawing the motion? Okay, we're all in favor of that then? I don't know if we had to do that, but. All right, so we got caught in a technicality there. But makes sense. Okay, so then we'll go on to where we were going. Bylaw 34.25, our first reading.
Thank you, Your Worship. So administration is seeking approval for a new municipal bylaw number 34.25, our council committee bylaw, following its review by and collected input from the committee of the whole on March 10th, 2026. This bylaw serves as a framework for most council committees by streamlining the committee creation process, ensuring consistency in governance, and reducing procedural confusion. The adoption of proposed council committee bylaw 34.25 will require the repeal of some individual existing board and committee bylaws. They will be replaced by this bylaw, which will include these committees' associated terms of references as schedules A through F. This will be provided in order to provide specific guidance for each of the committees. While the majority of council committees are directly affected by this bylaw, 3 committees which have unique considerations, the Drumheller Public Library Board, the Emergency Management Committee, and the Municipal Planning Commission, have been excluded at this time. On March 10th, 26, the Committee of the Whole made the following recommended changes to the bylaw. That a member of council be added to the Downtown Streetscape Improvement Task Force, that the number of members at large on the FCSS committee be increased, and that a timeline for the appointment to council committee members be added to proposed council committee bylaw 34.25, and that administration clearly distinguish between the requirements of council committees, regional committees, and external committees in the subsequent communication plan and implementation of this regulatory framework. To address these, administration did make changes specifically to the downtown the DSI task force terms of reference. The number of members on the FCSS committee's terms of reference was increased, and section 10.2 was also added to the bylaw, which requires administration forward the application to the applicable council committee and respond to the applicant with an anticipated timeline for when the appointments will be approximately happening within 3 business days. In addition to some grammar and clarity changes, administration is also recommending the following changes. Change in terminology from organizational meeting to annual general meeting for council committees to avoid confusion. Addition of a definition for an annual general meeting. Clarification on section 9.4 that the invoices, requisitions, or financial requests are for the subsequent fiscal year. Addition of section 4.3 to the council remuneration committee terms of reference, specifying that the mayor shall not be an ex officio member of this committee. Additional statement in section 25.4, encouraging members to resign in writing in the case where a conflict of interest precludes the member's ability to continue in their role on the committee. And an additional statement in section 14.3, requiring the AGM of a council committee to be within 1 month of the council organizational meeting where feasible. To meet the final recommendation of the Committee of the Whole, administration will ensure that the chairs of all affected committees are contacted and that a clear breakdown in the change of responsibility is conveyed. Additionally, administration will make significant changes to both the council committee application forms and the town's board and committee webpage to ensure that the responsibilities of the committees are clearly expressed. Also, please note, administration does intend to bring back minor changes for the policing committee terms of reference at 3rd reading that have been recently brought forward by the Emergency and Protective Services Department. I'll also remind the public and council that we did go into a lot of detail and a lot of discussion on this bylaw at that Committee of the Whole meeting, and I would definitely recommend taking a look at that again if you wanted to refresh your memory. There was a lot of really good discussion. The financial implications of this bylaw, there actually are no direct financial impacts, given that most boards and committees do not get compensated for their time on our boards. As well, there is a requirement to submit an annual financial report or financial requests prior to September 30th now of each year, and this will assist us in our municipal budgeting process. Our strategic policy alignment does assist us in practicing good governance by streamlining our committee creation processes, thereby ensuring consistency in our governance processes and reducing procedural confusion. Public participation policy, again, I went over the changes we'll be doing in our website and our communications with our individual committee chairs. Our recommendation today is that council gives both first and second reading to Council Committee Bylaw 34.25 as presented.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I get someone to make a motion? Councillor Hanson?
Make a motion that council gives first reading to Council Committee Bylaw number 34-25 as presented.
Okay, thanks for that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Hardy? All right, any questions, any discussion? Councillor Zarisky?
Yeah, thank you. Very comprehensive bylaw, lots and lots of work. Thank you to administration and staff for all of this. The one question I have is concerning the Drumheller Standing Committee on Health. I believe we recently got some information about that committee, and I'm just wondering, has there been any discussion or is there any suggestion of the status of that committee as to whether it will be a town committee or not? And I guess we don't have to discuss it right now, but I guess what I'm saying is before we make a second motion here, that might be a discussion that we should have. It would be a shame to pass this bylaw the way it is and then decide a month from now that we're going to add that committee into this and have to change it all again. So just a thought.
Through the chair, I agree. We can actually, because we are bringing this back within the next month or so to incorporate in the policing committee, that could be another opportunity to integrate the standing committee on health should that go down that road. The last I've heard on the role of the town participating in the standing committee there was discussions going on. However, administration has not received any firm direction on since those discussions have just been started, and I'm still waiting on direction.
Was there not an email sent to administration and or the mayor
The
about
only,
that?
those only the emails that were, they were basically, they weren't talking. They weren't interested in mixing the two up, is what I got. You're on both of them, aren't you? Yeah, and that's what I got from the one email that I did see, was that they weren't really interested in integrating. No, never seen anything.
I'm drawing a blank, but I can double check.
So we'll just leave that one sit on first reading here then as well, and we'll just go for our vote. You got more questions, Councillor Miller?
I do, yeah. I've got a couple questions and comments about this one. First of all, so I see the change with the FCSS now. We've added, instead of 1 to 3, 2 to 3. So I'm just wondering what would happen if there were to only be one applicant.
Through the chair, that is a good question. We actually, part of the reason why we took as long as we did to fill these positions is there was low responses. So what we did there was we just continued the advertising and started making more direct requests and just keep pushing until we have enough people.
Okay, thank you. I'm also thinking the council member on the streetscape task force should be a non-voting member, because we're going to be talking about that later. There's no need for that counselor to go on there and vote, is my thought. And so any boards that are making a financial request to the town of the town should be also providing an annual financial report, is my thought, and I'm wondering what the rest of council thinks. To me, that just makes sense.
Through the chair, sorry, can you repeat that?
So yeah, I've got to bring it up here. So we have, just a second. So there's Orange Rose will have to complete an annual financial report before September 30th, submit minutes, and update the town on membership bylaw and policy changes. And then we've got the pink and the gray rose. So it looks to me like there's at least one on there in pink that makes a financial request of the town. There might be more. To me, it makes sense that if a board is asking for financial assistance from the town should be receiving an annual financial report from that board. For transparency's sake, because when town is giving money to a board for something, then we should have access to their financial statement.
Thank you for that. Yes, we can. So normally how how we encourage is when there is a financial commitment or money provided to an organization, they do have to provide us with not only an annual ask, but a delegation to council to provide a report to council on how was the money spent, and just to show a bit more accountability on where the money went to and all the different programs that have happened. So I'll double check with Ledge Services and ensure that we add that clarity into the bylaw.
Thank you.
Councillor McNeil.
Thank you. I agree with Councillor Miller. I think that's a really good point. I do know, for instance, with the Drumheller Public Library, that we do complete an annual financial review, and that is actually performed by Metrics, which is the same firm that is completing the financial audit for the town. And that information certainly is publicly available. But I think, yeah, that clarity is needed. And then, yeah, certainly, I think the other question that I have is then is part of a delegation, but then I think also the financial report needs to be included in the package for the delegation.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Kalapa.
I just, going back to Councillor Miller's first point, I'm trying to understand us putting a member on that downtown committee, but then not allowing them to vote. I guess you're like, there's two different things. There's what council decides upon, and then there's also council having a voice on that. I'm just, if you can explain that a little more, please.
For sure, yeah. So when I go downtown and I've got business owners approaching me and asking me what's going on with it, and I have no idea, and neither does anyone else on council, then we have to wait until there's an opportunity to discuss it with administration. So this was a request of a couple of people who are on this board were saying to me, well, why isn't anyone from council on this board? It's a council committee. There should be a councillor on here so that someone on council knows what's going on with it. So even if Maddie's walking down the street, she's on council, she doesn't know, there's a councillor who they can access pretty easily and pretty quickly who does.
So just for a conduit of information then, okay. Thank you for that.
Just for added clarity on this, so I understand that the task force and the information that is being discussed there is done on a confidential basis. So just a heads up that those discussions shouldn't be shared publicly, even currently, as that information is going to be presented to council by the chair of that committee that was appointed within that committee. And that I understand from the director and from the last update on the task force should be forthcoming here in the next month or so. So the task force is actually wrapping up here shortly and will be presenting to council. However, there is still going to be at least one or two meetings that will be happening. So if this is, which is why we've incorporated into this bylaw. If the bylaw doesn't hit third reading by the time the task force is completed, however, this will just be a matter of record that this change was made.
Councillor or Deputy Mayor Kalafa.
Yeah, just on another subject, 11.5 terms of office. Member at large who is absent from 3 consecutive meetings of a council ceases to be a member. Is this an automatic thing where a letter would be sent out, or does that committee actually make a motion to, like, what, just the logistics of it? How would that happen?
Thank you for that. I will pass that on to our legislative services manager to answer that question. Mitch.
Thanks. Through the chair, that will be an automatic removal of that member, and then we'll send out a letter. So a motion wouldn't have to be made, and that is unless the committee does make a motion to excuse any of those absences. Prior to, that's correct.
Okay, thanks for that clarity. Anybody, Councillor Zaritsky?
Yeah, just looking down at the policing committee, 6.4, each prospective member must undergo an enhanced security check to receive clearance for the purposes of membership. And I guess I'm just wondering why a member of the public sitting on that committee would need an enhanced security check. From any of the police committees I've ever sat on, I mean, there was nothing discussed that was in any way, shape, or form security clearance necessary. So it seems a bit of a overreaction, and I'm not sure why it would be needed.
If I may comment through the mayor, we're at a different time, a different place, Mr. Zarisky. A couple of those committees I know you're referring to, one was fairly informal at the detachment by invite of the staff sergeant. We're looking to avoid people with agendas, perhaps bitter feelings towards things. I think is completely warranted. I've been over this with the province and the staff sergeant here locally. I don't think it's intimidating, or I don't think it's out of place. I think it's a well-placed, thought-out process that we will be using. Not to be mean-spirited or anything, but I think it's fair in this day and age.
I guess the other comment I would make, it says that only the members can vote. And I guess I'm just wondering what would be a scenario where people would be voting on something for that committee.
There will be reports to the province. There will be information that will be brought in, perhaps a member of the public, perhaps by the staff sergeant, perhaps by myself, perhaps by a member of council. There are scenarios, and this is the direction of the province. There could be scenarios and times and places where a vote is necessary.
All right. Anybody else? No. All right, so we'll, can I get a motion? Have I got a motion? I already have motion. Okay, we're voting on them now. All right, all in favor? All carried? Okay. All right, now on to our strategic plan.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we have in front of you, council does have a copy, a hard copy of our proposed 2026-2029 council strategic plan for the town of Drumheller. As well, legislative services will have it posted on screen for those watching and following along. Also, I'll mention that the strategic plan will be incorporated into the agenda package following this meeting and available on our website. So, establishing a long-term vision and strategic direction is one of the most important responsibilities of a municipal council. This is accomplished through the adoption of a municipal strategic plan. The plan tangibly communicates council's vision, mission, and values, and sets the strategic goals that serve as the framework for both council decision-making and day-to-day employee choices. Following the 2025 municipal election, Town Council participated in facilitated strategic planning sessions in November 2025 and recently in March 2026. These sessions provided the foundation for the development of the strategic direction for the next 4 years, reflecting both the evolving needs of the community and the new council's focus moving forward. The 2026-2029 Drumheller Valley Strategic Plan will serve as the primary guiding framework for council and administration over the term. It will be applied through annual budgets and financial planning to align resources with council priorities, in department planning and performance tied to strategic goals, decision making using consistent criteria for evaluating options, advocacy and intergovernmental relations aligned with regional and provincial priorities. In a dynamic and ever-changing environment, the plan provides clarity on where council's attention will remain focused, while also allowing flexibility in how town initiatives are implemented. Once the strategic plan is approved, administration will start putting it into action to make sure council priorities match organizational activities. This process will involve integrating the strategic plan into departmental business planning and performance measures, aligning our 2027 budget development and future financial planning with strategic priorities identified within the plan, establishing tracking and reporting mechanisms to monitor progress over the term of the 4 years, communicating the strategic plan to internal and external stakeholders. This approach will ensure the plan functions as a living framework that informs decision making, resource allocation, and ongoing evaluation throughout the 4-year term. Financial implications. Our strategic plan will inform, like I mentioned, our future budget decisions. There are no immediate financial implications associated with the adoption of the plan. Those projects and initiatives that are noted within it and in the subsequent operational plan will be brought forward and discussed during our budget deliberations. Strategic policy alignment. Strategic plan establishes town council's priorities and areas of focus for the council term. It serves as the foundation, as I said, for council's decision making, guiding priorities and values, investments, and service delivery to ensure alignment across the organization and sustained progress over the term. Public participation strategy. We will inform residents of the plan's unveiling at our upcoming public information open house, which is scheduled on May 6th, 2026 at the Badlands Community Facility. Future participation opportunities will also occur throughout the next 4 years. It is administration's recommendation that council adopts the Town of Drumheller 2026-2029 strategic plan as presented. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Can I get a motion? Councillor Zarisky.
Yeah, I move the council adopts the Town of Drumheller 2026 to 2029 strategic plan as presented.
Thank you for that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor McNeil. Any questions or anything? Councillor Zarisky.
Yeah, I would just like to say it's a very, very good document. I think town council, new council, administration, communications especially did a wonderful job on this. I think it really captures the essence of Drumheller. I really do. It tells the Drumheller story. It tells everything that is good about Drumheller. It tells about the past, and it gives strategic direction for the future. So I think it's overall a very well done document, very good job by all administration, all the supervisors, all the staff, and town council. Very, very well done.
Thank you for that. I know there was a lot of hard work. Councillor McNeil.
Yes, I certainly agree with Councillor Zarisky, and I do want to congratulate and commend the team that put this document together. And also, I just want to say that as council, I really enjoyed the process. I thought that it was well facilitated, and I just appreciated that opportunity to really connect with my fellow councillors, and I think that the entire process was very beneficial. I did note something which is near the second last page is under celebrate our uniqueness. And I think it's probably just a typo. And it's on the right hand side. there's successful renewal of the Intermunicipal Collaboration Frameworks, ICF. And then it says without neighboring rural municipalities. I think we need to just cross out. But yeah, it's a fabulous document, and I love the photographs that have been chosen.
Thank you. Through the chair, yes, our neighboring rural municipalities will be fixed. Actually, I'll just add in just a bit of a brief overview of the key points in here. Um, Mainly council's mission, which is to create a healthy, thriving community by providing sustainable services, promoting economic growth, and preserving our uniqueness. That mission has been integrated into all four pillars that are what this document stands on, as far as where we're focusing and where this community and our municipality will be focusing moving over the next 4 years. The other thing that I wanted to comment on as well is the core values that were identified by council. They are commendable, and administration will be, I believe it was Councillor McNeil suggested that we provide this and post that here in council chambers, which is always a good thing to enforce as an organization, that we are focused on these core values in everything that we're doing. So that will be done as well after adoption. And the other piece is a little bit of explanation on the strategic plan structure itself. So, as mentioned, we have our 4 pillars, and within those pillars, there are high-level statements that are the intents of what it is that those pillars mean, and what is the desired direction or the outcomes for the statements within the pillar topics themselves. And then under those intents is different priority initiatives. This is more the operational side of what projects or initiatives or programs that mostly administration will be undertaking over the next 4 years. I'll also add that the ones that are highlighted within each of the strategic pillar pages, there's 3 or 4 that are highlighted in each of the 4 pillars. There are more. Administration, this was the part that we played into this document, was to help identify what this means operationally to the town. So there is more. This is why these are called priority initiative highlights. And we will be reporting back to council on a regular basis, definitely annually here at our regular council meetings, as well as different options and regular intake too on the comments on how we're moving forward with it and what we're achieving in our website and other methods as well. That comprehensive list is provided and will be provided to council as part of that scoring mechanism and accountability side for administration to be measured and held accountable to how are we as administration reaching and helping our community and council reach their goals within this document. And last but not least, I will also mention the vision, which is where council sees us going and what we're hoping to achieve after 4 years. And that is that the Drumheller Valley will be a vibrant, safe, and healthy community. And that is what we strive for. Thank you.
They've done a great job with it. I mean, we spent a lot of time hashing it all out, that's for sure, and they put a good job. They put it together, a really nice job of it. Yep. Anybody else? Where am I at now? Just got to go for our voting it in, right? Okay. Unless there's any more questions. Any more questions? No. All right. No more questions. All in favor? Okay. Strategic plan adopted. All right. So now we are on to our land use amending bylaw. Mr. Zier.
Good.
Okay, thanks for that, Mr. Zier.
Okay,
Carry
very
on.
good. Good evening, council. The report that I'm going to be presenting to you today is for a land use bylaw, amending bylaw to numbered 0426. This is to redesignate a portion of the neighborhood district in Rosedale, a lot within Rosedale, to an employment district. So we don't see a lot of rezonings in the town here. So when we have one come up like this, it has to go through a specific process. So this rezoning is for a small portion of land located within Rosedale, Plan 07610349. It is a 0.14 acre portion of land. You can see on the Appendix B, I believe, that there is. Thank you for that. So you can see the portion of land here. So basically it is the south portion of the commercial, the employment district lot has encroached a bit into the neighborhood district lot. So this rezoning is really to redesignate that small strip of land back into employment district. There's a negotiation between the two landowners there, and they've come to agreement to have this land rezoned. Unfortunately, that means quite a bit of process through our side here for rezoning, subdivision, and ultimate a change of use of that property, or change of zoning for that property. So this is the first step on that. This is first reading for that land use bylaw amendment for that portion of land. If council agrees to that and approves the first reading, prior to second reading, we actually has to be a public hearing, notice to affected parties, advertised in the local paper. If the three readings from council go forward, then there's actually a subdivision as well that's required on top of this. These are all, the subdivision authority in the town here is Palliser. So that would actually go through there as the subdivision authority and presented to MPC through our existing processes right now. So the financial implications of this report here, so there's going to be some small costs for mailing. We do have to do a circulation under our advertising bylaw and policy up to 200 meters outside of this property here, as well advertising in the local paper for the public hearing for 2 weeks as a minimum. Alignment with our strategic policy is that the MDP and the LUB, making sure that all current land uses are in alignment with that. As you can see by the property that extended out, the actual setback of that commercial building does not meet current setbacks as it sits right now. So this will help resolve some of those issues by having that land rezoned and subdivided. As well, the public participation strategy alignment is the legislative requirement to have these advertising consultation with affected parties through a formal public hearing. And as I mentioned, through the circulation and notifications within the paper. So administration's recommendation on this bylaw is to, that council give it first reading for the land use amending bylaw 0426 as presented, and for a council to set that public hearing date for May 5th of 2026. You can see some alternatives here if council sees or would require more information. I can bring this back to an April meeting if council so chooses.
Any questions? Councillor Zarisky?
So I'm not quite clear what's going on here. So who owns the property that is going to be rezoned?
So through the chair, both properties are owned by private landowners.
The same person?
I believe they're different.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the person doesn't have to buy this little strip of land or anything?
So the land will be consolidated from the south property into the north property. We're not privy to what their negotiations were between the two landowners.
So different landowners?
Different landowners, correct.
Okay.
So I guess to carry that further, they initiated this?
I'm sorry,
The landowners, they initiated this, this move?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Well, I guess let's make our motion first here and let's do our, who's gonna make a motion to, on this, where are we? Anyway, who's gonna make the motion? Councillor McNeil.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that council give first reading to the proposed land use amending bylaw number 04.26 as presented and sets the public hearing for May 5th, 2026.
Thank you for that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Hanson. Now, any more questions other than initiated? Nope. All right, all in favor then? Okay, motion's carried. All right, that's that one. You got one more? Okay. Carry on, Mr. Zaire.
Thank you. So council, the second report recommendation and request for decision here is regarding the Starland Studios funding request for sponsorship. As council recalls, during the March 10th Committee of the Whole meeting, Starland Studios did appear as a delegation here and provided a request for sponsorship for the Starland Film Festival. They've subsequently sent us a couple more pieces of communication on March 16th and March 30th. Mr. Poprowski of Starland Studios sent these additional documents, which are in your council package now for review. And I'll just kind of give a high level review of what they said there. So pursuant to our current council procedure bylaw, the consideration of any of these requests is deferred for one meeting or a future council meeting for council to have the time to review information and gather the information for the request there. So that's just confirming why we're here today. The delegation heard on March 10th, following that policy is why we're presenting it today. So looking at the options for council to look at, if you were in favor of providing sponsorship dollars for this request, looking at the Starland Studios actual request, they have some suggestions for council, a cash donation. They brought a lot of these things up at their initial delegation request. Looking at anywhere from the rental of the McDougald Center in the BCF. They also asked if it was possible to have in-house printing and using some of our admin services for that sort of thing, as well as the costs on that. If council is going down that path, I'd request that we look a little deeper into what that actually impacts our staffing and everything. I don't know if we'd have the capacity for that internally here. So just a note on that if you were going to look at that option. Additionally, there's a request for executing market strategy, utilizing some of our talent in-house here for these sort of news releases and social media and that sort of thing. Again, looking at our capacities, I would recommend against that. Just at this time right now, we don't have the capabilities or the capacities to meet those, at least with our existing staff right now. So the other options are looking at potential cash donations or sponsorship opportunities, which Mr. Poprowski has outlined in his letter from the 15th in Appendix A, with looking at certain levels of sponsorship for this program here. or just a general cash donation at that point. So looking at where this would be funded from, there is an opportunity with the community assistance grant that council puts both in kind and cash donation opportunities every year in our operating budget. There is $20,000 available at the start of the year for in-kind donations and $15,000 for cash donations. We've received a number of applications this year, but we actually haven't submitted too many of those or approved those, short of the Drumheller Performing Arts one that council approved $500 for a few weeks ago or a month or so ago here. So there's some opportunity for and some money's available if council so chooses to provide sponsorship for this request. So looking at the financial applications for this, like I mentioned, it would be, if any dollars were submitted, it would be pulled from that capital assistance grant funding. Basically, the recommendation from administration here would be to direct, council direct administration to recommend to Starland Studios that they apply for that community assistance grant. That way we can see what their actual number request is on here. And then under the existing community assistance grant policy policy right now, council is required for sponsorship anything over $5,000. The CAO has up to $5,000 allowance if they so choose to award that without coming to council. Nothing stopping from council from making any of those recommendations today and directing administration to give that sponsorship dollars right now. We've also provided a few alternate directions or options for council to consider here if you weren't in favor of the recommendation. For one, just accepting this request as information and moving forward from that. You can also designate a specific amount either in kind or cash donations on the record here, or looking at a sponsorship level here as they have different levels for it, silver being a potential for $1,000. And I'm here to answer questions if council has it.
Get a motion? Councillor Miller?
I move that council directs administration to recommend. One moment. I move that council directs administration to recommend to Starland Studios that they apply to the Community Assistance Grant Program for sponsorship support of the Starland Film Festival on November 13th and 14th, 2026.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Hanson? Any questions? Councillor Miller?
So I was looking at the community assistance grant and it says on there not eligible individuals, businesses, or other government entities. And I'm wondering, do you know if Starland Studios is any of those? Because if they are, then that would mean they're not eligible.
Sorry, I'm just see if I have a copy of that policy in here. Trying to recall if the could you repeat that actually? Sorry, just to be clear.
For sure, yeah. So I was looking at the community assistant grant webpage, and I saw on there it says not eligible individuals, businesses, or other government entities. I'm not sure what Starland Studios is. I was just thinking that if they're one of those, then that would mean they're not eligible for the community assistance grant.
Yeah, and I'm just recalling with the community assistance grant, it is listed very vaguely as a local group as being eligible for that, knowing that they're not an individual business is again. There's no definitions to these kind of statements in the policy right now. So it has been a more vague look. We were considering even bringing back the policy before we decided on any of these, but knowing the timelines on these sort of things, we didn't have time to have these recommendations to council. So yeah, nothing I read in that made them ineligible. As far as I think going forward, we'd want to tighten that up a little bit more for council, looking at nonprofit requirements or something on that math. But if we look at the current policy as we sit right now, I don't see that as a restriction.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Through the chair. So I would also add, if council does make this motion, because we would be directing them to apply for it. Should they fall under one of those categories, we would be able to bring that to council to confirm that this is our recommendation moving forward. Perhaps they do want to request more than the $5,000 maximum that I'm able to approve. So that request would come back to council at that time.
Any other questions, Councillor Zawierski?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I guess I'm looking at this event as an opportunity. I know when we had Roger Brooks here, the tourism specialist guy, he talked about creating a vibrant downtown. You needed, and maybe Pat can remember, something like 25 events in your downtown in a year to create this critical mass of events. And I'm looking at the events that we have downtown in the year, and we're getting there. You know, we really are. We have added numerous events over the last few years. We're not at the 25 yet, but I look at things like Cold Bones. Like, wow! I mean, that started off as a little group playing in the back of the sandwich shop, you know, and now it's hundreds of people, you know, flooding downtown in February for this kind of an event. So I guess I'm looking at this the potential that this might be an ongoing, you know, event downtown as well. That if it, you know, if we help supply some seed money to get this going, then conceivably, you know, it will run on its own, and we won't have to, you know, supply money in the future. But it could be a very good thing again at a time of year when there's virtually nothing going on. It's shoulder season, which is exactly the time of year that we want stuff downtown. So I would really suggest that council find some way of supporting this, you know, at least initially, and then see what happens. I mean, maybe it'll be great. Maybe it won't be so great, you know, and going forward, you know, maybe it won't survive, but maybe it will, and maybe it'll get bigger and better, and you know, so I would just suggest that you know, council look at this as another kind of event in a way of reviving the downtown, and as I say, step by step by step by step kind of a thing.
Thanks for that, Councillor Zawierski. Anybody else? Councillor McNeil?
Thank you. I was also thinking that I think this presents a great opportunity for Drumheller to work with an organization outside of the town and with one of our neighboring municipalities. So, my hope with this is that there are volunteers that are engaged from Drumheller and then as well from Starland. And, and then I just hope that there will be some indication that there will be volunteers engaged in this film festival. I don't see it in the letter that comes from Mr. Paprosky, but certainly I think that that's something that would just add a lot to it.
Anyone else? Councillor Miller?
Thank you. So, with regards to his request for public relations departments, just helping a little bit with the news and social media end of advertising this thing, I think that makes a lot of sense. If there's a way that we're able to support with the advertising of it, I mean, it's an event that's taking place in our downtown. It's to everyone's benefit if people know that it's going on, and we do have a decent amount of people who look at our website and look at our Facebook and just pay attention to what's going on in Drumheller. So if there's a way that we can help out in that regards without it taking up too much of our administration's time, I would like to know more about that.
I think if we're, I think if they had their stuff properly prepared, it'd be a lot easier for us to distribute it. I mean, that would be the key. I think, the collaboration, just like he's suggesting, I do get what he's saying with the, use of the BCF there. We went to the one last year and it was, it was a lot of fun. They had the big splashy thing. They had their light out there, their spotlight swinging around. And I know it can be snowing or it could be plus 20 outside, middle of November. But if it all turns out good, I mean, it could turn into a great shoulder season event, like Tom was saying. And, I see a lot of value in it as well. So I'm glad to know that we're at least, moving forward with this to a certain extent. Even that he's here, and it would, it'd be cool to bring along some of the other, local filmmakers, promote them in this film fest that he's talking about here. So right on. Okay, so we've all had a little say. Are we, ready to take a vote on that? Is there any more questions? No more questions? Okay. All in favor then? Okay, motion's carried. All right, what's next? Are you still up?
No, I'm good. Thank you, council.
You got your thing? Okay. All right. So now. Oh. Okay, we're on to our infrastructure. 6.3.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay.
There's a report before council tonight in regards to our street improvement program for 2026. We are asking for award of a contract worth $531,000 to do some pavement and concrete work within the municipality. It did go out for procurement. It closed on March 20th. We did have 4 respondents. The current contractor, Grindstone Paving, was the highest ranked proponent and gave us some extra funding to complete some additional work, should we be able to. So at a tendered amount of $531,000, at a total budget of $850, we have approximately $214,000 of remaining funding. We are looking to utilize that portion of that for additional works. We did have a really bad freeze thaw spring, and we've seen a lot of pavement issues throughout the community, and we're hoping to get some of them addressed with that $150,000. There is an additional 214. However, there are a couple projects in this list that are considered of a higher risk nature, and we may need some additional funding to complete those once we start making excavation. Strategic alignment, again, enables the town to proceed with essential roadway and pathway improvements, address our sidewalks, and start to deal with some of our asset inventory requirements. We will look at some public participation. Once this is awarded, we will engage some key stakeholders in regards to the areas in which we're resurfacing and possible concrete improvements, and then look to get construction underway, hopefully in the next couple months. So there's a recommendation before council. The council awards the 2026 street improvement program construction contract to Grindstone Paving and Excavation in the amount of $531,660.83 plus GST, and furthermore directs administration to bring additional street improvement project scope equal to the estimated value of $150,000 to a future meeting of council for consideration. And that would be a mouthful. There are 2 alternative motions before council. The council just award the program as it sits, or they accept this report as information.
All right. Thanks for that, Mr. Brownstein. Sounds like a good news story, actually. If we can get more, would be better, that's for sure. Can I get someone to make a motion here? Councillor McNeil.
Thank you. I will move that council award the 2026 Street Improvement Program construction contract to Grindstone Paving and Excavating Limited in the amount of $531,660.83 plus GST, and furthermore directs administration to bring additional street improvement scope equal to the estimated value of $150,000 to a future meeting of council for consideration.
Thank you for that. Can I get a second? Deputy Mayor Kalatha. All right, any questions? Councillor Zaritsky?
Yeah, thank you for this. I guess my first question would be, how does the Strait of Hormuz affect this?
Through the chair to Councilor Risky, I'm assuming you're talking about asphalt pricing. And luckily, that's locally sourced. I believe we get most of our asphalt out of a plant either in Lloydminster or I think there's another refinery somewhere in Alberta, but most of it comes out of Lloydminster, actually.
My second comment would be, I want to put in a plug here for pathways. We talked about, our strategic pillars, developing a healthy, and number 2, developing a healthy, thriving community to deliver infrastructure that supports health, safety, mobility, recreation, quality of life. I think the pathways that we have, the Rails to Trails project, is becoming a more and more important part of the community, and very, very valuable part of the community. I was actually very disappointed when the Rails to Trails task force was disbanded. Maybe Pat could kind of fill us in on why, because I don't think the trails in the Drumheller Valley are anywhere close to being completed. I mean, the original vision was trails from the museum all the way to the Atlas, and we've got lots of trails that need considerable work. So I'm just wondering if we could use this extra money to do some trail pathway paving. I know there's roads that need paving. There always will be. The roads are terrible. To put this extra $150,000 into fixing another chunk of road, we certainly could do that. And I guess I'm thinking, however, that a lot of the roads that we are looking at, and you have mentioned, I mean, the substructure of the roads is so bad that you have to basically dig them all down and replace all the substructure before you can put any pavement on it, which takes, quite a bit of the money, quite a bit of the project money. Whereas paving some of the pathways, I mean, the pathway is basically there ready to pave, from my understanding. I mean, you grade it, you pack it, you pave it. There's not an awful lot of work that needs to be done to put the paving there. The pathways are also quite a bit narrower than a street. So I'm thinking, for the amount of paving that we're going to get done for $150,000 on a road, and the amount of paving that we could get done on a pathway, I mean, we could get 10 times the distance. So I guess I'm hoping that council will recognize that these pathways are an integral part of the community and becoming a more and more part of the community. I just look at the development of e-bikes, and e-bikes, I think, are probably one of the most growing recreational activities that there is out there. And e-bikes are wonderful, but what is happening is that e-bikes are in essence extending the range of bicyclists. That it used to be difficult to ride out to the museum because there's a few hills there. Well, now with the e-bikes, no problem, right? They go right up the hills. So we're looking at, kind of a burgeoning recreational activity. And we have areas in town, and I'm looking at specifically the pathway between the Cohoot Crossing and the dollar store, which is not paved, which is okay for walking. I mean, I walked out to Rosedale the other day, and that was fine walking, but not great for bike riding. It's just too loose. It doesn't work very well for bike riding. Um, I see people riding on Newcastle Trail, riding their bikes on Newcastle Trail, which parallels the pathway, which kind of defeats the purpose of the pathway. I mean, they're riding on Newcastle Trail. Newcastle Trail isn't that wide. The speeds are a little bit higher than what they should be, and it's not good. I saw a little girl last summer riding on the trail wipe out, and she was not very happy, and her parents were not very happy. And so I'm just wondering if we could use some of this money this year to do a little bit of that trail. Now, it won't obviously do the entire amount, but I'm thinking, if we did a section from the Cohoot Crossing towards 12th Street, do a part of that. And then next year, when Alberta Transportation has said that they want to redo 575, where we have all the paving equipment and the people and the pavement all there, right next door, like spitting distance practically to the pathway, do some of the pathway between the dollar store and say Plug Street, something like that, which would absolutely parallel the construction of 575. And then maybe in the third year, we do that section between where we finished off from the Cohoot Crossing to 12th Street and finish that whole pathway. So I'm just hoping that we won't forget about these pathways as being integral to the community. And as I say, they fit into our strategic pillar. They are becoming more and more popular. And I think we'll get pretty good bang for the buck in getting quite a bit of paving on a pathway as opposed to doing another section of road that undoubtedly needs to be done. Just my thoughts.
Anybody else? Councillor McNeil.
Thank you, Mr. Brownstein, through the chair. You mentioned that there were a couple of the projects listed here that would perhaps be extended because of likely having to dig out to the road base. Can you specify those, please?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor McNeil. So it'd be 3rd Ave Railway West, which is in front of the Dollarama. So that is a structural failure. And the other one would actually be Bankview Drive. So that's a 50-meter stretch where it's actually the road is subsided. We need to go in and make some structural repairs and resurface.
Okay, thank you. The other question that I had, just with respect to the selection of grindstone, is do they offer a guarantee? Is there a way that we can then just do a quality check after the work is complete?
So through the chair to Councillor, that is all handled by our engineering consultants. So they do QA, QC checks on our contractors to ensure we're getting the quality and the specifications that were provided in the tender process.
And thank you. And I just have one final question. How soon could we get them here? Because, yeah, the roads are really in rough shape. So just hoping that we can get this done as soon as possible.
Through the chair to Councillor Emile, it would be as soon as pavement plants open up and crews are available. So generally pavement plants, I believe, don't open up till the end of next month. So they need the weather to sustain their pavement plants.
Yes, okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Deputy Mayor Kalafa.
I'll just quickly address Councillor Zerski had noted that as a task force, it was a fixed term task force. We did extend its term, I guess, for lack of a better word, a couple of times. And it was successful. I can't remember the exact amount that we had raised, but it was north of $300,000. And I agree with everything that you're saying. I guess if it wasn't such a tough year this year, I would be more amiable just in regards to the condition of our roads. I think they've taken a beating. And I think that the acceleration in that road, our roads over this year, just I think it needs attention this year.
Any other questions? Any other comments, Councillor Hanson?
I was just wondering about the paving, that you've set aside or the areas that you're gonna do. Is any of them on the recommendation that was put out, given to us a while back? One of the ones I read on there was, a green close in, Mine. And I went by there and had a look at it to see, because that's a fairly new district. I was trying to figure out, and the only thing I could see is a manhole had lifted up. And I mean, it's a low speed zone for now. And there's definitely places that need it a lot worse than what that manhole does. And
So through the chair to Council Hanson, so yes, you are correct. It is the manhole, and it's not the manhole that's gone up; it's the road that's sunk. That was an operational request of staff in order to address some of our snow clearing activities. So we're starting to see damage to our equipment in regards to that little bump. So that was something that was put on the list just because of the fact that the infrastructure in the area is fairly new. So there's no point if we repair that, we're not digging it up 3 months later to do a water main repair or a sewer main repair. So hence why that was put on the list.
Anything else? Nothing else? I don't see any more questions. All right, all in favor then? All right, motion's carried. Okay, thank you, Mr. Brownstein. And now, I'm gonna need a motion to go into closed session for. Okay, Deputy Mayor Cloffa.
I move the council closes the meeting at 6:05 PM to discuss CAO update as per ATIA 26, disclosure harmful to intergovernmental relations, and ATIA 29, advice from officials.
Thank you for that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Hanson. All in favor? Okay, motion carried. All right, we'll close our motion for now.